All right. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the gear. I'm going to try to be as brief but insightful as I can. And I'm going to go from head to toe, okay? Just because that's kind of logical for me. So the basic gear that you really should have, and really one of the most important things you get, is a helmet, okay? It has to be 350 newtons. So I'm going to grab first my Luke helmet. Has to be withstand 350 newtons, and it will say, like on the back or when you order it, 350N. It cannot be less than that. So some of them do not take that, but basically any fencing or HEMA, that's historical European martial arts mask, should work. If you're not sure, let me know. I also have a comprehensive gear list as well before I forget. You can paint them. So I have painted this one. I'll show you my Gamorrean Guard, which is my first incarnation. I'm working on a Harbinger or Luke kit. And I honestly suggest that you do paint them. There are companies who can do it, or I've done my own. And there are videos on how to do that. But when I have this on, you can't see my eyes as well. And that can be an advantage for people to not be able to see your eyes. You can actually see out it just fine. So I actually do suggest that you paint it somehow, okay? So another thing about the helmet, these HEMA or fencing masks, when you get to tournament level, so if you're just going to practice, you don't have to have all this extra padding, but tournament level has to have some back of the head protection. This one is legal because that's the HEMA one. This would not be legal because it doesn't have it. This is another example of what is legal. So you can buy it for like 35 bucks, but you need back of the head protection. Okay, it's got some hard plastic plates in here and it attaches to the back, same as that other helmet. Okay, so that's the helmet. Next thing, closer down, is a gorget or a throat protector. This is a Red Dragon. It is soft. It is fine for your weekly practice. You do want to wear one on a regular basis for weekly practice, okay? Something like the Red Dragon doesn't have to be super crazy. The super crazy version has metal plates, so it has to be either metal plates or basically metal plastic, like hard metal or hard plastic. And what I have done is I put it over my Red Dragon. I think I have this on backwards, but it doesn't matter. Right now, it will be snug if I put this on correctly, but this is required, a hard metal or plastic gorget for tournament level. Okay, so you will need that. They are not cheap. This one is maybe like 30, 35. This one is like 70. There are people that have like done and made their own, but this is really important. We've seen people take throat shots, and you do not want to get stabbed in the throat, even if it's with a polycarbonate blade. Believe me, okay? Make sure you have that, at least like this one, for if you guys are going to be hitting each other. If you're going really light, maybe not, but please be careful. Okay, next thing is basically your shoulder or chest gear. Notice this is just hockey. I got this from a Sporting Goods, Dick's, and I just took it to Bauer one and I painted it. And actually, this is my original piece. I've been using it almost 3 years now, and it has held up pretty well. Okay, it's got this sidearm, like upper arm protection. It's got to have a hard plate basically for your shoulders, so it covers your clavicle. And believe it or not, people will never understand this, but this is pretty decent at stopping a thrust. And as far as the target area, when I put this on, anything below this armor is not legal for a thrust. What I mean by a thrust is a poke or a stab. Pretty much cuts. I'll talk about the legal areas next in another video. I'll put on all my gear. But this covers it. So like a hockey gear, some of the lacrosse is a little skimpy. Personally, I recommend the hockey stuff, and it doesn't have to be in great condition, but it should have this sternum protection, something hard. So like the motocross stuff is pretty much not very good, or you have to outfit it with a hard plastic breastplate. Okay, you can always ask me individual questions, but hockey gives you a lot of movement. Lacrosse is decent too, and you have enough protection. You know, you can always get more protection. This is enough. Okay, so that's the shoulder and stomach. It also has back. Okay, so it has to have something to, you might get hit in the back. That definitely happened to me. So some sort of back and spine protection, similar to in the front. That's why hockey is pretty good. Okay, kind of moving down the line is elbow. Okay, when I put this on, it's a little gaudy, but it is a hard protection on the back of my arm. It almost covers all my forearm, which is good, but it is hard. I take a shot here, and I can hear it. I don't really feel it much. Okay, so this is hockey, elbow and forearm. It is a little gaudier. I think I take more points as a result of it, but it is great protection. Okay, so that's a good one. Otherwise, you need to have elbow and forearm that covers pretty much the same area, and it cannot be like soft foam. It has to have some sort of hard material in it. Okay, that is the elbows. Next thing probably down the line is some gloves. I've got some newer ones that are a little small on me. They're a size 13 glove, and you know, I'm like 5'10", so that kind of gives you an idea. But what I usually suggest for getting gloves is like go to your sporting goods place, try on the gloves, that way you know what you need, and then you can kind of go around and shop for the best deal. But go to your sporting goods place first to size things out. These are Lacrosse gloves, and they have side finger protection. Not all of them do. I really suggest that you look for ones that have like some padding on the side and thicker padding. So there are different Lacrosse gloves. I don't know that you need to necessarily go like goalie level where they're kind of bigger, but don't get the really skimpy ones either. Hockey are okay, but they're really big and they don't have a lot of dexterity. So as far as entry level gloves, Lacrosse are pretty decent. There are hard fingertip protectors that you can put inside these because you will take finger shots and it will hurt and you might let out some profanity. Okay, so that's a warning for that. Lacrosse gloves is good. Moving on down the line, you have to have one of these for heavy sparring and definitely for your tournaments. Women actually have to have, not one of these, but you have to have groin protection. So we have a gear list and it has that on there, but believe it or not, well, people are always surprised. But for tournament level, basically like there's these hockey pants, but you have to have groin protection as well, ladies, okay? Moving on down the line. Got a couple of different things for leg or shin, and it has to be hard plastic. It has to cover the kneecap and the shin basically down to the ankle. These are motocross. They are great. They have a slimmer profile and they have good protection. It wraps around. Okay, so some of that soccer stuff obviously is not enough, but motocross or hockey, I have some hockey pads here as well. The problem with the hockey stuff is it tends to slip around. Catcher gear is the same thing, but if that's what you can get for cheap, go for it. You can always change stuff out or put some extra straps on, just go for it, okay? You don't have to get the motocross stuff, which is like 70 bucks. So get some hockey stuff that's easy to find. All right, in the next video, I'm gonna talk about sabers a little bit more in depth. So that was a basic gear load.